You've probably blamed your age for this. The flat mornings, the drive that used to be there and just isn't anymore. And the vast majority of men do. It's the easiest explanation. But there's a study I really want you to know about. Researchers took young, healthy men, guys with no hormonal issues, no health problems whatsoever, and cut their sleep to just 5 hours a night. 1 week later, their testosterone had dropped by 15%. The scientists actually described that drop as the biological equivalent of aging 15 years. These weren't men in their 50s or 60s. These were young guys, and 1 single week of poor sleep aged them hormonally by a decade and a half. So if you're over 45 and you've been sleeping badly for months, the math on what that has done to your hormonal baseline is honestly worth sitting with. But here is the frustrating part. It is probably not your age that's the main problem here. It's something far more fixable than that. See, your body has a very specific requirement for sleep to actually do its job. Your core temperature has to fall deeply, consistently, every single night. And what you wear to bed dictates whether that happens or not. That's it. That is the whole mechanism. And most men have just been getting it wrong every single night without even knowing it. See, your body does something extremely specific the moment you fall asleep. It cools down. And it's not random. It does it on purpose. Starting in the early evening, your core temperature starts dropping. It keeps pushing lower through the night, usually bottoming out right before dawn. That temperature drop, that is the exact biological signal your body waits for to shift into deep, restorative sleep. I mean, it's the specific kind of sleep where your testosterone actually gets manufactured. Without hitting that deep phase, you're honestly just resting your eyes. The heavy lifting never gets done. And this is where so many guys get tripped up, because you can lay in bed for 8 full hours and still wake up totally hormonally depleted. It isn't just about logging the hours. It is about hitting that depth. And getting deep requires that cooling effect. But the moment you sleep in clothing, you essentially trap all that heat right against your skin all night. Your system is fighting to cool down, and the fabric just keeps insulating you, pulling the heat right back.
Turns out your body likes to cool down at night, so sleeping naked helps with that, meaning you fall asleep faster and hit that deep REM.
I always think of it like a car battery that just refuses to fully charge overnight. You know, the car still starts. You drive to work, everything looks fine on the surface, except every single morning, the charge is just a fraction lower than it was yesterday. Until that one morning you turn the key and just nothing happens. That is exactly what years of disrupted deep sleep does to your hormones. It's rarely dramatic or sudden. It is just this slow, incredibly quiet drain.
So it's also good for your genital health. Air circulation is important, people. Moist, warm environments are a rave for bacteria and yeast. Sleeping naked shuts that party right down. Women benefit, men benefit, your bits will thank you.
And we haven't even talked about cortisol yet. That's your primary stress hormone, and it essentially operates on a seesaw with your testosterone. When your cortisol spikes, your testosterone drops. It happens every single time. Disruptive sleep basically keeps that cortisol running high all night long, which means your body is wasting those crucial hours breaking testosterone down rather than building it back up. The research is super clear on this. Missing out on quality sleep consistently links directly to lower T levels and higher stress hormones in men. And you feel it in your energy, your drive, how your body holds fat, your confidence. Literally, all of it. Guys, drop your age in the comments real quick. I want to see exactly who is in this community with me today. Also, I've put together a completely free guide that breaks all this down in way more detail if you want to look at the bigger picture. It's called the Testosterone Recovery Guide for Men. The link is right down below the video. You can grab it after we're done here. That being said, let's get back to what actually happens inside your body when you just ditch the clothes at night. When you sleep without clothing, you're finally allowing your system to just breathe and cool down exactly the way it was designed to. There's nothing blocking that heat transfer, nothing trapping the warmth against your skin. Because of that, your core temperature can drop cleanly, which physically pulls you down into those deeper, heavy stages of sleep. And that right there is the exact environment where testosterone gets manufactured. It's where growth hormone spikes, and your cells actually repair themselves. You aren't forcing your body to do anything new. You're really just getting out of your own way. And naturally, when your body is cooler and resting deeper, your stress hormones, your cortisol, stay incredibly quiet through the night. By keeping that cortisol suppressed, you're basically clearing the runway for your testosterone to build back up without being immediately broken down by stress. Cooler skin leads to a quieter stress response, which creates a vastly better hormonal environment overall. But there's another layer to this that almost nobody wants to talk about, and that's the temperature around the male anatomy itself. I mean, that tissue sits outside the body for a very specific biological reason. It strictly requires an environment that is roughly 2 degrees cooler than your core to function the way it should. We actually have studies showing that even a tiny 1 degree rise in heat around that area, if you hold it there for hours over time, visibly impacts how well those cells operate. When you throw on tight waistbands or heavy fabrics, you are essentially baking that area for 8 hours a night. Sleeping without clothes is just the most effortless way to fix it. All of these systems, the deep sleep, the low cortisol, the localized cooling, they just start working together for you on the exact same night. To actually make this work, the details matter a bit. You need to get your bedroom down to somewhere around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That's roughly 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. That is the absolute sweet spot to give your body a fighting chance to cool off. If your room is too warm, it essentially cancels out everything we just talked about. And please, leave the phone on the nightstand when you crawl in. The blue light from the screen literally tricks your brain into thinking the sun is still up, which completely delays that whole cooling and hormone building process. Also, if you happen to share a bed with a partner, there's a huge hidden benefit here. Physical skin-to-skin contact while you rest actually triggers the release of oxytocin. And oxytocin is incredible because it actively suppresses cortisol, which, again, gives your testosterone so much more room to breathe and recover. So that physical closeness isn't just a nice emotional perk. It is a highly effective biological tool. Just try to keep the routine consistent. Aim for 7 hours minimum, though 8 is really where the heavy hormonal recovery kicks in. 1 solid night of sleep is great, but building the actual pattern is what changes everything. Honestly, if you're only going to make one change tonight, make it this one. It doesn't cost a dime. It requires 0 effort. And the biology backing it up is, but if you're ready to look past just this one habit, the Testosterone Recovery Guide gives you the complete picture. I break down the 7 hidden things working against your hormones every single day, exactly why cortisol is your worst enemy, and those 6 specific habits that genuinely support recovery. It's totally free. Just hit that first link in the description. You know, so many men just blindly accept the fatigue, the low drive, or the extra weight as a normal part of getting older. And sure, some of it might be, but definitely not all of it. Most of the time, it's just a system crying out because it hasn't been given what it needs to run properly. And sleep is the exact place where that system either gets rebuilt or just keeps getting progressively worse. Every single night. It's really up to you. A quick reminder before you go. My role here is to break down the clinical research, not to act as your physician. This is education, not a diagnosis. If your body is giving you signals that something is off, take it seriously. Partner with your doctor and get a comprehensive blood panel done. Never guess with your biology when the exact data is just a lab draw away. I am Mika Hay. Equip yourself with the facts, and I will see you in the next video.